Think your neighborhood is safe? But how safe are you, really? Behind the quiet corners and urban comfort of 2026, there are 5 cities where the rules of the street haven't changed. Survival here is a matter of luck, where a 10-second walk could alter your life forever, and even broad daylight won't protect you. Stay with us until number 1, because these findings reveal a side of the American map that rarely makes headlines. Before we reveal the list, a quick note on how this ranking works. You might expect cities like Chicago, Los Angeles, or Washington, D.C. to top this list, but we're not ranking total crime numbers. Instead, we're using violent crime rate per 100,000 residents, which measures the likelihood of crime per person, not just raw totals. All data comes from the latest FBI crime reports, focusing on violent crimes like homicide, robbery, aggravated assault, and SA. Do you think your city could make this list? Because coming in at number 5 is Detroit, Michigan. Detroit is a city whose reputation for danger has become almost legendary. For decades, it consistently ranked among the highest in the country for violent crime per capita, earning a place in national crime discussions long before most other cities. But how much safer is it today? Here's the twist. Detroit is now experiencing a historic decline in violent crime. In 2024, the city recorded its fewest homicides in nearly 60 years, and non-fatal shootings and car theft also dropped noticeably. The trend continued in 2025, with homicides falling even further and violent incidents across the city continuing to decline. While some neighborhoods remain rough, many areas, particularly downtown and midtown, are now considered relatively safe. That said, Detroit remains high on violent crime rankings. In 2024, it was among the top 3 cities for total crime per 100,000 residents. This explains why Detroit continues to appear on lists like these, even as the numbers show real, historic progress. On the ground, experiences vary dramatically block by block, highlighting the stark contrast between improved districts and rougher neighborhoods. While the city's reputation lingers, the data shows a violent crime rate moving steadily in the right direction. And as we leave Detroit behind, the next city on our list shows that some urban areas have held on to their violent crime status with almost unbroken consistency. Number 4, Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore is a city with a rich history and vibrant culture, but also a long-standing struggle with violent crime. For years, the city has a reputation for gang-related violence and frequently ranks among the most dangerous in the U.S. for homicides and robberies. Ongoing gang conflicts in specific neighborhoods continue to drive much of the violent crime per resident. Challenges like economic disparities, concentrated poverty, and systemic issues continue to influence crime patterns. It is also important to note that Baltimore is smaller than many other major cities. It means that danger can appear quickly. A few blocks can take you from safe streets to dangerous areas, especially if you're not familiar with the city. Would you know which areas to avoid? As we all know, danger isn't uniform. According to 2025 to 2026 data, many areas are relatively safe, and residents report feeling more secure in recent years. Popular districts like Inner Harbor and Federal Hill remain lively and bustling, while crime is concentrated in certain pockets. According to FBI's 2024 reports, Baltimore remains one of the leading cities in violent crime rate, underscoring why it maintains its position on these lists. Despite efforts to improve public safety, many residents still navigate streets where danger can be an everyday reality. And as we move on, the next city takes us further into the center of America's violent crime landscape, where the numbers reach new highs. At number 3, we arrive in St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis often tops lists of America's most dangerous cities, thanks to high violent crime and murder rates in certain neighborhoods. Some central areas report residents facing as high as a 1 in 83 chance of experiencing a crime, while overall the city's safety is considered below average. Headlines often focus on the city's alarming murder rate, which in 2019 was the highest of any major U.S. city. But there's more to the story. St. Louis City and St. Louis County are separate entities, each with its own police departments and crime statistics. The city has a smaller population, so individual crime incidents make per-resident rates appear higher, while the surrounding county has lower crime rates and a much larger population. Combine them, and the metro area's crime picture is far less extreme than the headlines suggest. Certain neighborhoods remain safer, including Baldwin, Princeton Heights, Clifton Heights, and St. Louis Hills, while other areas still see concentrated crime. Population size, concentrated poverty, and systemic challenges all play a role in the city's crime profile, making some areas riskier than others. St. Louis has even drawn national attention. Recently, federal agents and National Guard troops were also sent to St. Louis to help reduce crime, following similar actions in other major cities. This shows just how high the stakes can feel, even as some neighborhoods continue to improve quietly. But the next city on our list takes danger to a whole new level, and the numbers you'll see might be shocking. Number 2, Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis has earned a reputation that few cities can rival. Here, violent crime isn't just a statistic, it's part of everyday life in certain neighborhoods. Homicides, shootings, and robberies dominate headlines. And for residents in high-risk areas, caution isn't optional. In fact, Memphis is one of the homicide capitals in America, a title that, for better or worse, keeps real estate prices surprisingly low and affordable. Memphis consistently ranks among the most dangerous U.S. cities due to high rates of violent crime, including aggravated assault and homicide. Safety is highly dependent on the neighborhood, with crime concentrated in certain areas. While 2025 saw a significant decrease in murders, the city still faces challenges tied to poverty, gang activity, and long-term city problems. The contrast between dangerous zones and safer districts is dramatic, making awareness essential for anyone getting around the city. Let's talk about the obvious issue. Memphis made headlines for historic highs in crime in 2023, but recent trends are encouraging. In 2024 and 2025, the citywide crime rate dropped notably, decreasing roughly 15% yearly. Despite this progress, violent crime remains a reality in parts of the city, and national perception hasn't caught up with the data. Right before the next spot, there's one more city that almost made this list. Honorable mention, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Albuquerque just misses the list, but it's not far behind. The city has one of the highest crime rates in the US, with particularly high rates of property crime, auto theft, and violent crime compared to the national average. While some neighborhoods, like the Northeast, are considered safer, others, especially the International District and parts of downtown, experience concentrated criminal activity. These trends make Albuquerque a city where caution is key, even if it doesn't quite crack the top 5. And yes, this is the city where a certain chemistry teacher turned kingpin once made headlines. All fiction, of course. Coming up next is a city where crime rates are so high, even locals say it's a place where you should never walk alone at night. Number 1, New Orleans, Louisiana. New Orleans has long been famous for its music, food, and festivals, but it's also known for high crime rates. In 2023, New Orleans actually surpassed Memphis in homicides, keeping its place among the U.S. cities with the highest per-resident violent crime. But how dangerous is it really, especially for locals versus visitors? Violent crime rates here are among the highest in the country, with homicides, armed robberies, and assaults dominating certain neighborhoods. The city's crime is highly concentrated, particularly parts of Central City, the 9th Ward, and East New Orleans see persistent violent activity. Although the city sees a high number of reported crimes, most serious incidents involve people who know each other. That means tourists are rarely directly targeted. Crime is concentrated in certain neighborhoods, while others remain safer. Areas like Lakeview South and Newcomb Boulevard consistently report lower rates of violent crime. Petty theft and opportunistic crimes like pickpocketing in the French Quarter and Garden District are more common, especially during big events like Mardi Gras, when streets are crowded and distractions are everywhere. New Orleans also faces broader challenges contributing to its crime rate, including economic gaps, historic systemic issues, and aging infrastructure. Neglected maintenance, poorly kept public spaces, and the threat of natural disasters add to the city's safety challenges. These factors create areas where crime is more frequent, while other neighborhoods have seen improvements thanks to community initiatives and increased police visibility. When looking at the numbers, it raises an interesting question. Does a city's reputation for danger match the experience on the ground? Or is it just the headlines that make it seem worse? Keep in mind, lists like this can vary depending on the source and the factors used. Even so, these cities have consistently shown up near the top in recent years. So, what's the safest city? Well, that really depends on whom you ask. Different ways of measuring safety, like violent crime rates, property crime, or even traffic incidents, can give very different results. Regardless of the numbers, it's worth recognizing the efforts by local authorities and residents who work hard to keep crime rates down and make their neighborhoods safer every day. Stay aware, stay safe. If this video helped you think twice about your surroundings, join us in this next video.